Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk some boxing news. I do want to talk first about tonight because tonight, Wednesday the 1st of October, Amir Khan and Balmoral Promotions are putting on sort of a co-promoted event in Lagos, Nigeria. It's going to be called Chaos in the Ring. It's headlined by Brandon Glanton versus Marcus Brown. That card's got a lot of, it's a full stacked card of a lot of people that I haven't heard of, but they're all sort of African fighters, and there's a few African belts up for grabs. It's on DAZN, so I'd definitely get on there and have a watch. It should be a good night of boxing. It hasn't sort of been... I don't think it's been promoted great. I mean, lots of people don't know it's even on. Lots of people haven't seen anything about it, but I want to let everybody know. It is on tonight, so if you're around, have a watch of it, see what it's like. I like them taking fights to Africa. I feel like there's a lot of history in fighting in Africa, and recently, especially title fights, nothing's been going there. So I hope that can change. Amir Khan Promotions with Balmoral Promotions putting on Chaos in the Ring in Lagos, Nigeria. Glanton versus Brown. Definitely check it out. Alright, let's get into the news. The first bit of news is Rafael Espinoza will defend his WBO featherweight title against Arnold Kigai. That's going to be November 15th in Mexico. Kigai is Ukrainian, 33 years of age, 23 wins, 14 knockouts, 2 losses, and 1 draw. I like Rafael Espinoza. I think he's very, 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 very talented fighter. Alright, next bit of news. Subriel Matias versus Dalton Smith has been confirmed. It will take place January 10th in New York City. Matias' promoter, Fresh Productions, won a purse bid last month to secure the rights to the fight with a bid of $1.9 million. Now, I spoke about this a few days ago. I'll need to check my sources, man, because a few sources were saying that the purse bid was supposed to take place this month, but it had already happened. So, the fight, what I spoke about the fight doesn't change, but the purse bid has been won, and it will be done in New York, promoted by Subriel Matias' promoters. Turki Al Sheikh has plans for a February supercard headlining David Benavidez and Devin Haney. I mean, to be honest, they've sort of got to get through their business first. Especially Devin Haney, he's got to get through his business first before he can eye anything. Like, if he gets iced by Brian Norman Jr., then he's not going to be headlining anything in February, to be honest with you. And it's a real possibility. I feel like going into this fight, Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr., lots and lots and lots and lots of people have sided with Brian Norman Jr. I no doubt think Brian Norman Jr. is the favourite, and in my opinion, I think he wins, but I don't think it's easy. I don't think it's one-sided as some people are making it out with. I think we're forgetting how good Devin Haney actually is. He got set back by Ryan Garcia. His last fight was piss poor, but if Devin Haney shows up, he's a much better boxer than Brian Norman Jr. is, though, in my opinion. I think Brian Norman Jr. is a good boxer, but I think Devin Haney's got better ring IQ. I think he's a better boxer. I think Brian Norman Jr. hits harder and is a better fighter, if that makes sense. There's two different ways to look at it. If Devin Haney can go back to his old ways and moving around the ring, staying on the outside, staying away from Brian Norman Jr., picking him off, those power shots from Norman Jr. aren't going to get close to Devin Haney. So we'll have to wait and see on that fight. Canelo, as I said yesterday, it is set he's going to undergo arthroscopic surgery on his left elbow on October 23. I'm not a doctor, I don't know what that means. But he will be in a sling and should resume light training in 4 to 6 weeks after the procedure, meaning he'll probably be training in December at the earliest. I hope the surgery goes well. Look, if he gets back in the ring training December, we've seen how long Anthony Joshua's been out, and he sort of had an elbow surgery as well. So it could be maybe April, May next year. It could be July, August of next year when we see Canelo back. I honestly don't know. I hope we get to see him fight again twice next year. Sort of good for 2 fights a year, but we'll have to see. This is a setback. I can't remember the last time Canelo really had a major injury. So, all right, this is the big news that I want to talk about, because there was two sort of promotions done yesterday. Janibek Alimkhanuly on his Instagram and Twitter, I believe, posted, "There's a big announcement coming soon. There will be a big fight." And Hamzah Sheeraz said, "Big news to come in the next few weeks. I'm sure boxing fans will love this one." So let's talk about each of them together and collectively. because they sort of both came out at the same time. Some people were thinking, oh, can we get Janibek Alimkhanuly versus Hamzah Sheeraz? For me, I think the news that Janibek Alimkhanuly will announce in the week will be him versus Carlos Adames. I don't think we'll be surprised with that. I think that is the fight that we're going to see Janibek Alimkhanuly in. I think Turki Al Sheikh's going to throw a lot of money at it, and I think that's the fight we're going to see. What date? I don't know, but that'll be the news. For me, that I don't think there's going to be any surprises there. I don't see anyone else, unless it's going to be Alimkhanuly versus Lara for some reason. I think it's Janibek versus Carlos Adames, and I'm pretty confident saying that'll be the fight we're going to see. Hamzah Sheeraz, that one's a mystery. There's so many names being thrown around of who it's going to be, which shows how invested people are with Hamzah Sheeraz at super middleweight. It's very, very exciting. Now, I think one of the key wording in it is boxing fans will love it. He hasn't said fans will love it. He hasn't said anything else. He hasn't sort of mentioned like it's going to be a super fight, like the casuals will be involved. He said boxing fans will love it. So I feel like the person we're going to see him fight will be a boxer's name rather than a sort of casual name that lots and lots of people adore and will enjoy that sort of super fight. So I think that almost rules out Jamal Charlo. I don't think it'll be Charlo. I don't think it'll be Crawford, as some people have said. Who do I think it'll be? I think it'll be Diego Pacheco. They both fought in July. Diego Pacheco fighting Trevor McCumbee on the BAM card. And what it was the week before? The week before Hamzah Sheeraz versus Edgar Berlanga. The other names that are sort of circulating is Caleb Plant. I don't think Caleb Plant will get the fight, especially after losing to Resendez earlier this year. Oslaz Iglesias, he just fought. I'm talking 3 weeks ago, maybe less. He fought, so I think that rules him out. Jacob Bank could be it. It sort of fits only boxing fans will really know who Jacob Bank is. For those who don't know Jacob Bank, he's 24 years old, undefeated in 17 or 18 fights from Denmark. Very, very good young fighter. The other names that you could probably look at is Jose Armando Resendez. I mean, he just got that good win over Plant. So there is some names. Look, I'm not going to rule out anyone because maybe I'm reading too much into the wording of it. I think a lot of those names are possibilities, and I probably wouldn't mind seeing any of those fights. I probably from most favorite to least favorite of those fights, I'm probably saying I want Pacheco first. Then I probably would like to see Charlo fight him. Then I'd probably say Resendez or Bank. I really don't want to see Plant, if I'm being honest. I don't think there's much to gain in there. I think the way Plant fought against Resendez was poor. We've seen Plant in so many of these fights, and they always sort of go the same way. Plant's tough, he's rugged, he'll give you something to work on, but the fact is, in the end, he will lose. And Hamzah Sheeraz, after what he did to Edgar Berlanga, his stock is so high. Let's put him in a fight where his stock can get even higher. Obviously, the other few names that are there are Mbili and Martinez, but they're going to fight each other, so they're ruled out. I think it'll be Diego Pacheco, and I really, really hope it's Diego Pacheco. I think boxing fans will love it. I think it'll give clarity within the division. Not knowing what Crawford's doing, not knowing what Canelo's doing, not knowing what happens between Mbili and Lester Martinez. If Pacheco and Hamzah Sheeraz fight, and there is a clear winner, all of a sudden, there's one less name that we're talking about. Right now, when you say, who's next to fight for a title, and you're going, well, it could be Canelo again, he just lost it. It could be Mbili, it could be Martinez, it could be Pacheco, it could be Sheeraz, Technically, you could say Chris Eubank Jr., he could be in and around it because he's a big name. There's so many names there that you're like, let's have some clarity. Let's have a clear idea of who is next in line. The fact is, Hamzah Sheeraz has had one fight at super middleweight. Diego Pacheco has fought his career at super middleweight. I can't remember him fighting within another division. At least his most prominent wins and recent fights have all been at super middleweight. He's one of the people that we're looking at towards the future, still young. But put those two together, let's see which one is the better fighter. because I think it's a very even fight. I think if you made that fight Pacheco versus Sheeraz and you looked at the odds, I reckon Sheeraz would be 3 or 4 to 1 favourite. Early doors, I think he'd be that favoured because of the name. I think most people have now seen Sheeraz, say, oh, this guy's good. You know, we knew what he did at middleweight, although he didn't get to beat Carlos Adames. He's moved up, smacked Edgar Berlanga. We can now say what we want about Edgar Berlanga. Lots of people have had their opinions changed on Edgar Berlanga post that fight. And Diego Pacheco, I mean, he's just not, the name is just not there yet. The name is not peaked over to sort of casual fans, yet no one really talks about Pacheco. You talk about that Cafu versus Bam card. Not many people watched the card in general, and if they did, they just watched Bam versus Cafu. Not many people spoke about Pacheco. To be fair to that Bam versus Cafu card, nobody talked about what Pacheco really did because Pacheco didn't really look that great against Trevor McCumbee. Let's be honest, it wasn't an outstanding performance by Diego Pacheco. You compare what Pacheco did with what his colleagues are doing. Well, Mbili, though, he didn't get the win. Mbili versus Lester Martinez opened eyes. People were watching. People loved that fight. You look at what Edgar Berlanga and Hamzah Sheeraz did. Hamzah Sheeraz, boom, like a rocket. His stocks rose. Diego Pacheco, he's idling at the moment. He's idling. He's still undefeated. Still, in my opinion, should be rated second or third in super middleweight, depending on what you still with Canelo. For me, it really is Crawford, Canelo, Pacheco, Mbili, Sheeraz. And the only reason Sheeraz is so low is the fact is he's had one fight in the division. In terms of which one's the best out of each, that's what I'm saying. We need to get these guys fighting. We need to have clear people to say who is the top dog, who is the next in line for that belt. Crawford, I don't think defends the super welterweight, the super middleweight belt. I don't see it. I don't think it'll happen. I think he's got ideas to go down to middleweight. All of a sudden, you can have 5 open belts. So, we'll have to wait and see. Hamzah Sheeraz says it will be in the next few weeks. So, look, in a few weeks' time, Crawford could vacate and it could be Pacheco versus Sheeraz for a belt. We don't know. I hope it is Pacheco versus Sheeraz. I'd like to hear what you guys think. Who do you want to see Sheeraz fighting? What do we think about Janibek Alimkhanuly? Like I said, I think it's going to be Carlos Adames. I don't think it'll be anybody else. I don't really want it to be anyone else. There's no names. Look, Lara. If it's Lara, it's Lara. But I honestly don't know what that guy's doing. He's sitting around at 42 years old with a belt and not fighting. And he hasn't fought in ages. So, Rafael Espinoza, he's going to take on Arnold Kigai November 15th. Brendan Glanton versus Marcus Brown tonight. Canelo undergoing surgery. He's going to be out to at least December before he can get back into training. Alright guys, that is the news for today. Like, subscribe, leave all your thoughts in the comments below, and we're out of here. See yous!